today. They wanted to extend the customer house network all the way to the central office to provide them a secure environment where they could manage their own router. We virtualized, the router was virtualized and was moved to the central office, the home router, and that could provide the customers with secure data storage, game playing, without being outside in the internet. And when they wanted to go to the internet, they will connect to the internet. At the same time, we provided some enterprises with the same approach, saying, okay, if right now you have on-premise storage, why don't we move all that data to the central office, to a location where it's secured, where you have power 24/7. So Telefonica, what they did is they virtualized this storage appliance that were on-premise on the customer's location all the way to the center. They virtualized it over OpenNebula, and they were able to provide this kind of services, disaster recovery, data storage, very useful for companies that do, which is right now something that everybody's doing, video streaming, because they require a lot of storage space for doing their video processing. So we move all that to Telefonica move all that to the central office. And also right now, what as I understand, Telefonica continues to do now some testing with 5G using the same infrastructure. In this same infrastructure, exactly similar to what Emil showed, that OCP rack, half rack with the servers and that, we are able to host not only the network infrastructure, both for mobile and fixed, but also all the third-party services, everything isolated from one another for security purposes. As you know, in the telecommunication industry, they don't want the data to mix from one to another. And also we had customer data, private customer data that was held in their own spaces, all provided and hosted, as I said, in OpenNebula. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the slides, but basically that's what we were doing. This is what we are doing. And right now we're extending that kind of functionality in a couple of European projects. The first European project we're working on right now, the most important is IP-CIA CIS, which is a European initiative of 11 countries that want to push the edge to the very extreme, with all the way from the infrastructure to the use cases, starting with mostly enterprise use cases, but we'll probably move to more residential type use cases for end users, which is the purpose of this initiative. And also we're working, we're one-day members of Gaia-X, another European initiative. And besides that, besides institutional and universities and a lot of investigation, we have some commercial applications being developed with some customers like train operators, tower owners, cellular tower owners. And this is what we're doing. And this is how really we're working on bringing extending the cloud all the way to the customers' doorsteps. OneEdge, which is our newest application for doing this, provides the capability of building a continuum from on-premise to the central office, all the way to the public cloud, controlled and orchestrated by a single control panel that allows you to move loads from one place to another and deploy automatically over any infrastructure that is made available to OpenNebula. So basically, that's what I have to say, because I don't have the presentation. And
yes, but it's been very interesting to know this initiative together with Telefonica and Open Nebula, what you have been doing. I hope that the audience could follow along from the beginning until we had to move over to Emil for a while, and because this is one of the examples of edge use cases and ways of working to move compute load closer to the end user. So it's for us it's very interesting. As you know, Alfonso, we also collaborate. We are trying to start up a collaboration with you.
Yes.
Okay, we are now in the Q&A session, and I will ask the other presenters to come online with the video, and I have a few questions for you. And you see all the videos now of this? I can only see Alfonso. I cannot see anyone else on. Are you having your videos on, Emil and Dario?
Yes, at least I do.
Strange that you cannot see all the presenters. Anyhow, we start with Dario. Are you there, Dario?
Yes, can you see me?
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay, good.
The question for you is like this: what is the uptake of ETSI-MEC in the market in terms of commercial, generally available services so far? That's a question for you.
Yeah, that's a tricky question, because as a chairman I have to obey to rules and antitrust compliant. I have to be very careful about what I say, because I cannot endorse a company or another one. So
yeah, yes,
it's a difficult question for me, because I cannot give you evidence practically. So I'm afraid my answer can be not totally satisfying, because I cannot mention products as an endorsement from ETSI-MEC. I am a chairman and
yes,
partial on
yes,
that, right? But
yes.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, instead, what I can provide you is evidence of the MEC usage, which is published in the MEC wiki, is mecwiki.etsy.org. It's a wiki page where we are collecting practical examples of MEC implementation from everywhere, so including open source, but also commercial products, okay? And they are related not necessarily to the entire MEC system. Maybe they are related to a portion of the system, and because they are implementing a part of the specification or a specific API published by MEC. And there are also in the MEC wiki as well examples of proof of concepts done by companies. So you can find there names of the companies I cannot mention, but also trials from operators which are implemented in the live network in operation, 5G networks, for example. And you can find there everything in this perspective, giving practical flavors of the market adoption. It's a continuous evolution wiki page, because currently we are updating with further examples from the market, which are a sign of adoption of MEC technology.
Very good. Then I have a question for you, Alfonso. What is the next plans, and what have been done after this trial with Telefonica? What is the next step?
As a result of the pilot, Telefonica announced earlier this year, that they are going to move their fiber optic equipment from proprietary solutions to open source solutions. So that's quite a huge step. We're not directly involved on it, but for us is quite an achievement, because the initial idea was to demonstrate that open source software and hardware were able to open up the ecosystem, and Telefonica has taken the step, as they are doing with Open RAN. They are doing the same thing with the fixed wire network. So that was one thing. Also, there is more pilots being done here in Spain, promoted by the Spanish government, And we're doing things with drones, and we're doing things with simulation of medical facilities and all this. And in those things, in those pilots, OpenAble is being used for as the orchestrator. Then, as I mentioned, we are working with a train operator, a European train operator, to build, to provide in the trains the capability of providing the same feeling that you have on the airplanes, that you can watch movies and play music and those things, to put it on the long distance trains, so people can enjoy the travel and get entertained as the hours go by. We're also working on Industry 4.0 in a new project. I cannot disclose the name right now, but it's in the automotive sector for manufacturing. So we're thinking, there are things that are starting to move slower than we thought, because I said, we started this in 2016, but there is progress, and there is actual uses that we're seeing that really foster the use of open software and open hardware.
Okay, thank you, Alfonso. And then a question for Emil. Could we do a hackathon collaboration with the MEC initiative? What is the RISE MEC relation?
Well, there is not a strong relation so far, but we can certainly build one. And I think that would be an excellent idea, because we want to foster this sort of experimentation and the actual sort of development of new applications, and the kind of style of hackathon that Dario just told us about is something that fits our purposes very well, and it would also help, I think, it would help improve our edge computing efforts and just attract more talent and interest to the theme. So I think that would be very useful. So yes, I think so.
What do Dario think about this?
Yeah, I would be delighted to see something happening in this perspective. Thanks, Tor, for asking, and thanks, Emil, for proposing the idea. In principle, I will welcome so much the idea. Indeed, I can tell you next week there will be the ETSI-MEC plenary. I will chair, and in the agenda there is the plan to talk about ideas of a possible 2022 edition. Everybody is invited to propose a MEC hackathon, and there are rules, very lean and simple to do this, and also by ETSI. So actually we have plenty of opportunities if you want to talk about that. Thanks.
Okay, very good. I was just thinking about the spread of the work over Europe. How is this work helping Europe overall? Are you covering? Are there participants all over Europe from all different European countries?
Are you asking me on the hackathons?
In the companies and in your network, your ecosystem around ETSI-MEC, is it companies from all over Europe? If you take just Bulgaria, is some companies from there involved? What is going? How is it looking, or is it only a few countries?
Good question. Good question. In principle, the work in ETSI is not limited to European countries, right? Or European companies. Everybody can be part of that as a standard body globally, as well as 3GPP or other standard bodies. When it comes to hackathon, it's really let's say up to the proposers what they want to do. We did hackathon editions in Berlin, in Munich, in Turin, and in San Diego, and in Beijing or Shenzhen, with the local or regional coverage or global coverage like the last one. Well, with the pandemic, we had to make it fully virtual, and it was quite straightforward to think more about how to offer cloud computing capabilities with some servers located everywhere close to the developers. But if you want for any reason to exploit whether maybe a core team of European partners that are, let's say, attracting more locally developers, that's equally possible. It's really up to proposers. There is no limitation.
Okay, very good. I have another question for you, Alfonso. You mentioned Gaia X during when you spoke, but could you say anything more? OpenEBOLA, is OpenEBOLA going to be used within Gaia X, or is it for Edge, or where? How is the relation between Gaia X and OpenEBOLA?
Right now, Gaia X, as I understand, because the project is quite large. The project is focusing a lot on the data structure and the data architecture, and leaving part of the infrastructure to the IPCEI CIS project. We are engaged both in the architecture of the Gaia X as part of the orchestration and the data sharing and data transferring. And in the other project, in the IPCEI, we're doing as well the orchestration, but from all the way from the helping the infrastructure providers all the way to the use cases. So we are very involved on both projects.
Okay, good. Then a question to Emil. You talked a little bit about helping more AI researchers or companies that are maybe they are mostly using Jupyter notebooks and Python code. Are they really able to make an application and run it on the edge? This little bit more complicated, you have a distributed computing. Will they be able to do that really? That's my question.
Oh, that's a big question. I think we will certainly be able to make it easier and help them out along the way. But it is a more complex environment, so I'm sure there will be some additional hurdles to climb. I mean, just not just the network topology, but also the the optimization of code. I mean, we're talking about resource constrained environments and making compute available on an edge node, and that has to be optimized. You can't just run everything in Python. That we won't have enough compute to do that. But yeah, I think they will.
Okay.
With some help.
Okay. What do you think, Dario?
Yeah, I believe this is a very important aspect for the edge computing side to enable processing capabilities, especially exploiting also let's say the new evolution of the AI applications. And the problem that I have from a standard perspective, I have to be very careful. Not myself. We have to be very careful in going to the temptation of over-engineering, standardizing everything. Right? No, this is not actually the approach. We have to be very careful and respectful of what is the market proposing. If there are open source implementations or proprietary implementation that, and then the standard role here I'm talking more is with the chairman hat is of course linked to the industrial trend in this perspective. So that's a learning process. AI is a big topic at the edge. It's a journey, something that maybe we are, let's say, planning to work more in the future on that for sure. But of course, from the standardization perspective, we have to be a little bit careful to not close the market, right? Because if you impose some specifics in the standardization, then you obtain the opposite effect. You want to open the market. So
yes, thank you. I see the timing is there that we are going to close the session. I thank the speakers for presenting. And we have seen practical examples of edge computing now, network edge computing. We have seen Dario talking about MEC and Alfonso about the one project, and Emil about a live 5G network edge computing project. So thank you everyone for today, and I look forward to further collaborations going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
To
Take
the
care.
audience as well for listening in.
Everybody, thanks.
Bye bye.